This first one is the tale of vampire Mercy Brown.
Ooh.
And this is one of the most famous vampire stories outside of Dracula, which was fictional, but Mercy Brown was a real person.
Okay.
This tale is called When Rhode Island Was the Vampire Capital of America from New England Magazine.
Well, then you know it's real.
If it was in a magazine, it's fucking real. It's fucking real. The villagers of Exeter, Rhode Island knew that farmer George Brown had a problem. First, in 1883, his wife, Mary Brown, succumbed to a mysterious illness. 6 months later, his 20-year-old daughter, Mary Olive Brown, also fell ill and died. Within the next several years, his 19-year-old daughter, Mercy Brown, was also dead, and George's teenage son, Edwin Brown, a healthy lad who worked as a store clerk, became suddenly frail and sick. The village doctor informed George, the father, that consumption was taking his family. I don't know what that is. I just know it's like a fucking old-ass disease.
Okay.
Consumption. Have you heard of it?
No.
Let me just look it up because I don't actually know what it is. And consumption.
Also, was he like this? He was like, George, your family is being quote unquote consumed
by your fucking vampire daughters. Consumption is a historical term for tuberculosis, a lung disease. Okay.
Was he like the how do you call it? Like the word that you're supposed to use not to offend anyone?
I don't think they had woke culture back then. I don't think they gave a shit about getting canceled in 1742.
You know what it's giving? It's giving when they did this syphilis study and they were like, do you have bad blood?
Yeah.
And then like never told them it was syphilis. That's what it's giving.
The Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
You have consumption.
Yeah. That also
we have a remedy for it, but
we can
tell you.
We can do an entire episode on that. But bonus plug, you can go to auxoro.supercast.com where we did do a bonus episode on the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, which is where the United States government effectively didn't tell people they had syphilis and kept them sick for decades in order to experiment on them.
Even when they did have a cure for syphilis.
Exactly. So just
because they just were wondering, but what happens if they don't get the cure?
Fun stuff. So the village doctor informed George.
Spoiler alert, the village doctor was actually a vampire, so he was just telling like to everyone like, you have conceptions, keep breaking me, your daughters.
The village doctor informed George, I need your neck. Please crane your neck towards my teeth. Yeah, bring me all you have. All the blood you have, put it in a bucket. Put it in a bucket before me, add some sugar. That's the way I like it. The village doctor informed George that the consumption was taking his family, but the country folk of Exeter, Rhode Island, had another explanation. On a chilly...
There's always one, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's always that mad guy that's like, it's the vampire.
I don't know if it's the consumption, George. I think it might be those bloodsuckers if you're asking me. Let's dig her up and fucking find out, you know what I'm saying? On a chilly March afternoon in 1892, a group of men entered Exeter's Chess Hill Cemetery. They then began to exhume the bodies of George Brown's wife and 2 daughters that had died. They concluded that one of the deceased was leaving the grave at night to suck the life out of its relatives.
Why? Okay. How did we go from everyone's dead to we gotta dig up them bodies?
Because the son is still alive. He has tuberculosis.
Okay.
But he's sick. He's not dead.
So he's like, dig up my siblings, see what's up.
So the theory is that one of the siblings is a vampire. And
don't know what the theory is, but is that what it led to? You were like, oh, they're all dying because one of your children is coming back to life to suck off the blood of the rest of your family.
According to this one group of men.
Okay.
Yes. So they concluded, after going to the cemetery and digging up the bodies, that one of the deceased was leaving the grave at night to suck the life out of its relatives. Only by killing the vampire could young Edwin be saved, who's the son.
And what evidence did
That's
they
sick.
have that one was getting out?
None. It's 1892.
So they dig up the graves, they found nothing, and then they were like, it's got to be one of them.
Yeah, that was 1800 science.
We got no proof. It's got to be the girl.
What did you expect? Yeah, it's got to be that dead slut. I saw
her. She all bloated.
I saw her expose her ankles one night before she died. She must be a witch demon.
Exactly.
Only by killing the vampire could young Edwin be saved. Who's the son that is still alive but sick. First, the men examined the bodies of Mrs. Brown and the daughter Mary. Finding them to be properly decomposed, they some guy's like, no, that's dead for sure right there. That's good stuff.
Well, that's been dead. That's been dead for the right amount of time.
Yeah, just like, no, wait, let me taste that forehead sweat. No, that's dead sweat right there.
No, see right there. She only got 3 maggots. She's supposed to have 55.
Yeah, vampire. Finding them to be properly decomposed, they began to exhume Mercy Brown. Slowly, they shoveled into Mercy's grave. When they reached the corpse, they suddenly stepped back in terror. Mercy, who had been buried for more than 2 months, appeared oddly well preserved. It seemed that her hair and nails had grown, and when the men cautiously prodded the corpse with their shovel, they found that it was filled with fresh blood. The suspected vampire's heart was removed.
Same thing, they were like, how do you know it's fresh blood? It's like, that tastes fresh to me. That tastes like yesterday's blood.
Yeah, they see the body that looks full of blood and the skin's not decomposed. And one guy goes, yeah, we should probably take out, and some guy's already down in the grave. I'm already ahead of you, Brian. I'm getting the heart. Anyone got a spoon? It's kind of funny. The suspected vampire's heart was removed and burned on a nearby rock. The ashes were added to young Edwin's medicine.
Oh my God.
Still.
Can you imagine? It's like your whole family is there. It's like, now drink your sister's ashes.
Yeah. Edwin's like, this coffee tastes a little bit different. Well, it's your dead sister's burned heart, but we did also add a new type of sugar. It could be either one. I don't want to say which. But yeah, just drink your dead sister's heart. Still, the boy died less than 2 months later. To the less superstitious, there was perhaps nothing so unusual about the well-preserved condition of Mercy's body. She had been in the ground during the 2 coldest months of the year. The mysterious wave of illness that swept George Brown's family was probably tuberculosis, but that did not keep Rhode Island from becoming known as the vampire capital of America. South County, whose isolated villages resembled the lonely hamlets of Transylvania, was a hotbed of vampire rumors between 1870 and 1900. When Bram Stoker, who wrote Dracula in 1897, died, newspaper accounts of vampire Mercy Brown were found in his files. The legend persists to this day. In Rhode Island Historical Cemetery No. 2 stands the gravestone of alleged vampire Nellie L. Vaughn of West Greenwich, who died in 1889 at the age of 19. The grave is supposedly cursed. One local university professor who studied vampirism claimed that no vegetation or lichen would grow on Nellie's grave, despite numerous attempts to plant it there. How do you get a degree in vampirism? That's pretty cool. To teach vampirism at a local university?
But to be fair, I feel like that's more like the myth and legends. You know, like it's like a story and specialization in history. But I'd love to take a course in that. But I think I'd heard about this. By the way, circling back very quickly to this, I have 2 questions. First question is, did they test out how long George was taking, well, not George, whatever, the son, to take to decompose? Or they were just like, we got the vampire, we're good?
I don't think so. I think they saw her body was not decomposed, Mercy. Mm-hmm. And in reality, like we just said, she was buried during the 2 coldest months of the year.
But obviously they were not reasonable.
I don't think they were worried about George. I think they were pretty set on Mercy once they dug her up.
Okay, my main question is, how did they think she pulled it off? Like, she was like under the ground, like I'm assuming there's a bunch of soil. She'd just be like climbing out and then perfectly resealing it on top after she's done with her killing.
That is actually a central theme in a lot of vampire myths, is how they exit the graves, basically climbing through 6 feet of soil and then re-entering without signs of reentry. Some myths say that vampires turn into mist, so they essentially just like mist through the ground, and then
Okay.
they're, atomically
Yeah.
restructure.
Damn, they know how to teleport and we're killing them?
I guess so. Yeah, we're burning their hearts, cutting off their heads, and then burning the entire body.
Stupid
Even though they
people.
solved teleportation,
stupid.
apparently. The legend persists to this day. The grave of Nellie L. Vaughan is supposedly cursed, who died in 1889. University professor says no vegetation grows on it, despite numerous attempts to plant it there. And people are still taken aback by the inscription along the bottom of Nellie's tombstone. The curious words read, "I am waiting and watching for you."
Well, somebody in this town had a sense of humor.
Yeah. Or she's just like a very like emo goth girl of the 1800s.
Yeah.
Like, I'm waiting. I'm going to come back and haunt the shit out of you.
Mm-hmm.
Because nothing's fair. Nothing in this world is fair.